Welcome to my ever first film camera review on this YouTube channel. My name is Haider. I have been an avid film photography fan for a few years now. Basically returning to film photography. You can see from my age that I used to do film photography before the days of digital, but recently reacquired the interest in acquiring old vintage cameras and starting to take up film photography again. I'll have a separate video that I'll talk about why I did that and the love I have for film photography and why I enjoy taking pictures with film cameras. But today I want to review this camera. This is one of my favorite cameras that I actually acquired. It's the Canon P rangefinder camera from the late 50s. So the history of this camera is that Canon, like all the other manufacturers, especially the Japanese manufacturers and some Soviet manufacturers, needed to copy the success of the Leica camera design. So Leica was like the premier camera 35mm rangefinder camera manufacturer, as you know, from Germany, and everybody wanted to basically make cameras that are similar and better and obviously more affordable to people. So Canon came up with many iterations, culminating in, I believe the last one was called the Canon 7, but the one just before was called the Canon P or Canon Populaire. And this is a 35mm rangefinder camera that takes the Leica L39 or thread mount lens system. Now the lens that I have with this camera is actually not made by Canon, because at the time when I bought this camera I couldn't afford a Canon lens, so it came with a Jupiter 8 50mm f1 f2 lens. Jupiter was a manufacturer based in the Soviet Union that took over the designs from the German Carl Zeiss factory at the end of the Second World War, and they started making effectively Carl Zeiss copy lenses. So they have the same design, same number of elements as the original German lenses, but they're obviously made in Russia or Soviet Union as it was in those days. The camera itself is really nicely designed. You can see here, if I can show you, the way it looks from the top plate. It's actually beautiful. You'll see the film winder arm here, the shutter release button. That's the slow speed, so if I put it on a fast speed just to see how you hear the click. You've got your shutter selector dial here, so you can choose from 1,000th down to 1 second, and then bulb meaning you open it, keep it depressed, and it keeps the shutter open until you release. Thousands obviously is the fastest speed you can do with this one. You've then got your cold shoe mount. So there was no hot shoe in those days, so you can't get the electronic flashes that fire from here. You've got to attach a cable, flash sync cable, to here, so you can still mount a flash but attach a flash sync cable and then you can use it. It's got a flash sync speed, I'm not quite sure what it is, could be like 100th or 60th, but it's marked with an X. So if you're attaching flash, you can put the flash sync speed there and it will work. And there's B again. Now the way you open the camera is that you basically open up the tab here. There's a tab that normally when it's closed it's twisted like that, and when it's opened you release the back and you see the back of the camera here. Traditional 35mm camera design. You've got the film cassette here, you wind the films onto the spool here, you give it one wind to make it take up, and then you close up the back, you close it there, and the counter will reset, and then you start taking pictures. I'm going to do a proper full review of this camera, but I just wanted to share with you how beautiful this camera looks. From the back you see this is a ISO reminder dial. This camera does not have a light meter built in. In those days they did not build cameras with built-in light meters. They started introducing built-in light meters a few years after that. So the model after this, called the Canon 7, has a selenium cell-based light meter. This one didn't. I don't mind actually. I use an external light meter, or I use my light meter app on my phone, which is perfectly fine. Or you could use something called a Sunny 16 rule, which is you basically follow a rule where you set the film speed to be, for example, if you're using 100 ISO film, you set your shutter speed to be 1/100th of a second, and then if it's bright sunny day with no clouds, it's f16, and then if it's partial cloud, it's f8. If it's in dark areas, it's f4 or f2.8, etc. You can look it up. You can look up the Sunny 16 rule and how that works, or you can easily just get a light meter app on your phone and use it. So there it is. There's the Canon P. I highly recommend this camera. It's absolutely wonderful to use and hold. And when you're putting it on your shoulder strap, when you're walking around, everybody will pay attention to what you're using because it's actually beautiful. Modern digital camera designs are trying to replicate vintage camera looks these days. You know, they try to be as well designed as the old film cameras used to be. I picked this up on eBay relatively cheaply, and I don't regret it. I have some other cameras that I've got a bit of a camera collecting bug now. Just love the design of these cameras, so I've started acquiring more and more different types of cameras, and hopefully I'll share those with you on this channel. But I just wanted to start off with this one as being one of my favorite designs, the Canon P. And again, I highly recommend it.